guys, welcome back to the Cocco channel and to another installment of Babay Cocco 2018. If you didn't know, but I'm pretty sure everyone does by now, I am pregnant. At this point, I'm coming up on 16 weeks, which is a pretty big milestone. So I wanted to do the first trimester roundup video of how I feel, what things happened, stuff like that. This may be informational for some of you who maybe have never had children. It may be kind of entertaining to compare for those of you who have, or maybe you are someone like me and are pregnant yourselves, and maybe you're a little bit behind me. You can kind of see what's to come, things of that nature. Everyone is different. Everyone's gonna have different experiences, different things that happen. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to start with, I do have a beautiful list here in my beautiful sketchbook. That's not meant for lists, but that's what I'm using it for. So I want to start off with how I found out I was pregnant. Back in May of this year, Andrew, my husband, for those of you who do not know, my husband and I decided that we wanted to start trying for another baby. We do have one son who is 2. He turned 2 in April, and so we did want to have them be closer, ideally. You know what the saying is, man plans and God laughs. And so we did get pregnant last year. Unfortunately, we did have a miscarriage, which was really, really horrible and crappy. So if you have been through one of those, I completely understand that feeling, and it's not a good one, and I sincerely apologize for that loss. It's a very hard thing to go through. I do have a whole video on that if you want to watch it. I will link it down below. But so anyways, May of this year, we decided, let's do this, without being too crude. And so we decided in May that we were gonna start trying. It was actually like early May. Him and I had a very romantic weekend, just the two of us. We went and stayed in a hotel. We had a ton of fun. We went shopping and just hung out, really like rekindled ourselves, because if you didn't know, we did a huge move last year. Not only did we move, my husband also switched careers, which is just so stressful and worrisome and stuff like that. We are living with my parents right now, which as an adult with your own children is also a very hard ship on a relationship as a couple. And so it was just really nice that we had that moment and that time together, and that is where this baby came from. Again, without being too crude, you guys have to understand that this series is going to be like no kind of bear all tell all. You know, we're going to talk about so many things, bodily functions, you know, stuff like that. So if topics like this make you uncomfortable talking about sex or bodily functions or stuff like that, then this probably won't be for you. I'm a very open book for the most part. There are some things that I like to keep private, but there aren't a lot. So anyways, in May, we decided baby time. So my uncle and my nephew came to visit June 1st, and literally that day I found out I was pregnant. At the end of May, I could tell something was up because I obviously missed my period, so I took a pregnancy test and it came up with one line. I was like, okay, well then I'm not pregnant, I'm just really late. So then a week later was June 1st. My parents went to go pick them up from the airport, and while they were gone, I was like, I'm gonna take one more because it was a 2-pack, because I still haven't started and I really don't want to be on it while on vacation, because you know, it was summer and we were doing boating and swimming and all of that while you're, you know, on that lovely thing we like to call Mother Nature. Mother flow is the worst. And so I took out the old pregnancy test because I didn't want to throw it away. I didn't want anyone to see it. We hadn't told anyone that we were going to try, because with my first, it took us a year. My son was planned, obviously, and we had already been married for 3 years, and so we decided it was time, and it took us a year to get pregnant with Aiden. And so we were kind of under the same impression with this baby, and it literally took that night. So I took out the old pregnancy test because I had wrapped it up and put it back in the box, which I know sounds gross, but it has a lid on it and everything. It's not like pee was everywhere. And it had 2 lines on it, and I was like, what the hell? Like, I sat there and waited forever and it only had 1 line. So I took the second one and it literally took 5 seconds, maybe if that, and 2 lines were there, and I was like, oh, okay, well then I'm pregnant. So that day, I really regret this now, but I was just so shocked and excited at the same time that we were pregnant already that I literally pulled my husband in the bathroom and I was like, remember how we wanted to start trying? And he said, yeah. And I was like, we're already pregnant. And he was like, what? Also very, very excited, very shocked that it was just that easy, because there are some people that struggle for a very long time to have children and to conceive. And if you've ever seen like a video on like what the sperm has to do to get to the egg, what the egg has to do to drop into the correct place, like it's literally magic, you know what I mean? Like I know it's, for me it's God and like the wonders of his creations for me personally, but I know some other people are like, it's magical, and it is. It's like such an amazing thing for this to happen. And so the fact that it happened so quick, we were like, oh my god, like, oh my gosh, we were really planning on it taking a while. So we would like kind of already be out of the house and we could nest and do all this, but it actually worked out better that I was here, that we are still here, because moving on into the rest of it, was so tired, you guys. I mean, I couldn't sleep enough. Oh man, the tiredness was so real. I would get out of bed, and because I have a 2-year-old, you know, he gets up relatively early, not as early as most, thank God, but you know, and he needs breakfast and he needs entertainment and he needs, you know, challenges and stuff like that. And so I would get up and make his breakfast and feed him, and then I would like let him watch some TV, and I would literally just sleep on the couch. And then, you know, my mom would be here, and so I'd be like, I really need to go lay down. I really need to go lay down. I need a nap. And I don't know how I pulled it through. My uncle was here for like 10 days, and the last like 3 or 4 days, it was the same. I started taking naps, I started getting sick, and then they left on, I think like a Friday or a Thursday. No, I think it was a Sunday actually. I think they left on Sunday, and then my parents left to Utah on Monday, and they were gone for like that whole week. And so my mom called me when they were in Utah, and she was like, are you pregnant? And I was like, yes. And she's like, well, okay then, there's that. Like, she didn't have the best reaction, but like she just knew, you know what I mean? And so I told her to keep it a secret from my dad, obviously, because we wanted to like announce it to him because Father's Day was coming up. So I made my very first appointment with my OB. I found them through my insurance. Like I did a provider search, and then whatever came up, I would research them separately on Google because it comes up with actual reviews. And there is a group here, an obstetrics, I can never say that word, group here called New Horizons Women's Center. The group is called like Arizona Obstetrics Group. I think it's AOG. And so they have a couple different offices. The office I chose is in Chandler. This is like for anybody who may be local. And what you do your first time you go in is you do a urine specimen, so that way they test your urine to make sure you're pregnant. They didn't do any ultrasound on me. The very first time I got pregnant with Aiden, the very first time I went in, they did a vaginal ultrasound, which is literally the most uncomfortable thing ever, but they want to just see like that it's not a tubal pregnancy, stuff like that. But I didn't do that this time. It has changed a little bit from when I was pregnant with my son, which I want to do a whole video just on that, like what I learned from my first pregnancy and what has changed between my first and second. But anyways, so back to some side effects of being pregnant. Not only was I tired like a you know what, I was also very, very sick. And it was like the worst kind of sick, because I wouldn't actually have the act of getting sick. I wouldn't throw up and then kind of just be better and like go about my day. It was nausea like almost all day long, but the worst time of day for me is definitely the evening. I don't know if it's like just being tired for, you know, what your body's doing, or if it's things that I've eaten throughout the day are catching up with me or what the deal is, but nighttime is definitely the worst. That's when I just want to lay down. My stomach hurts usually. I'm very nauseous. I'm just really tired, so nighttime is definitely the worst. What would make me sick are a variation of things. Most of it though would be smells, which was very similar to my first pregnancy with Aiden. The smell of eggs would just put me over the edge to where I almost was throwing up. Certain smells of meat really made me sick. Still a little bit. I am able to eat a little bit more, which is good, because another thing that I want to talk to you about is prenatal vitamins. I had to change my prenatal vitamins. The ones that I had so much iron in it that I was constipated beyond, oh, it was the worst, which, you know, again, is a really weird subject to talk about, but it is about pregnancy, and a lot of women do suffer from constipation when they're pregnant, which if you're constipated plus you're pregnant, that's like your stomach has zero room, so you're just so uncomfortable. And so I went to Target, and they have tons of prenatal vitamins. I got, oh, what are they called? Let me go grab them. So the prenatal vitamins that she prescribed me, I went and picked up at my local pharmacy, and it literally just said prenatal vitamin. It didn't have a brand or a, you know what I mean, like off-brand, whatever, and those ones are obviously the ones I stopped taking. These are the ones that I picked up at my local Target. It comes in a box together, and it's actually not with the vitamins, it's actually with like the condoms and pregnancy tests and all of that stuff. They have like stuff for lactation and stuff like that. That's where these were, and it comes with 2 bottles. One is full of gummies and one is actual tablets. You take 3 gummies and 1 tablet. You can spread it out throughout the day, but these gummies don't taste very well, so I just take them all at once. Again, these are called Upspring. I'm gonna link them down below so you can see them. This is the one that is the prenatal, and it has all of your vitamins in it except for the iron. The iron I get from food. We researched a bunch of things. You get food from vegetables, you get fruit, iron from, what did I just say? You get iron from fruit and vegetables and nuts. And so that's what I decided to go with, because those foods are also natural, like fiber. It also has fiber in it, so it does both. So it doesn't constipate you, but it also gives you the iron that you need. And so these are, like I said, the prenatals. They taste absolutely disgusting, but it has everything you need in it. And then the tablet is actually a bonus, and it's clinically proven to help support brain development for your fetus, which is never a bad thing, and that's why I went with those. I also went with those because they were 25% off on Cartwheel. So I'm gonna go pick up some more. They were $25 for the set, which I know sounds expensive, but for the benefits of them, they were totally worth it to me. Even though like the ones that she prescribed me, again, were free through my insurance, but they just didn't do anything for me except for constipate me. I mean, they did not do anything. Obviously they have all the vitamins and folate and AHA, DHA, and all that stuff for the baby and you, but they just did more harm, I feel like, because being constipated is the worst. So now that that's out of the way, I want to talk about weight gain. I gained 7 pounds in my first trimester, which is asinine, especially because, you know, you're sick, you're not really eating that much. But if you are gaining weight, or if you gained weight, don't feel guilty, because your uterus literally doubles in size in your first trimester, and so that's a lot of the weight gain, that's a lot of the bloating. You are retaining water, stuff like that, so you're growing a baby, which is a miracle. And I really wish, just like with Aiden, that I would have started off carrying less weight already, but unfortunately, it is what it is. I keep having to fix my lighting. It's getting cloudier and cloudier outside, so sorry about that. But like I said, I've already gained 7 pounds in my first trimester, but it was like very sudden and like almost all at once, because I weighed myself before we started getting pregnant, and I was like so excited about where I was losing weight, and when we went in and I saw what it was, I was like, oh my gosh. But she explained it to me, and, you know, obviously told me to stay away from fats and sugars and stuff like that, and to just be very conscious of what I'm eating, which I am, and to exercise a lot. Another thing I want to mention about exercise is that, oh my gosh, even though I am so tired, I have to walk and swim every single day, because I have the worst lower back pain. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably just because of the weight, because I was overweight to begin with. I'm a big, beautiful, curvy girl to begin with, and so putting a baby on top of that, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot of weight and my back, plus my job of YouTube, you know, sitting here filming for a couple hours and then every single day sitting and editing on the computer, which it just doesn't give you the best posture, and so plus the weight, and so I have a ton of lower back pain, and so walking and swimming every single day helps me. I go swimming at 6 o'clock every night, and I try and walk in the morning if I can get my ass out of bed, but it is what it is. Another thing that popped up in my first trimester that I'm actually still dealing with is acne. If you've been with me for a while, you know that even as a teenager through puberty, I never had any acne issues. The only time I would have a few little breakouts, I'm talking like pimples, you know what I mean? Like nothing crazy, no cystic acne or anything like that. It was only during my time of the month, and so I would just have like a few things pop up here and there, but now it's like full on everywhere. I get them on my necks, and they are like, I'm pretty sure the cystic acne, where it's like a large lump underneath the surface and you can't really pop it. I get them crazy along my jawline. Like I said, they started popping up on my neck, and on my forehead I get them, so that's something new to me. But out of all of the articles I've read, they say do not go straight to acne treatment. Number one, because you're not really treating the same kind of acne. Number two, it's one of those things, and there's so many of these while you're pregnant. There's so many things that are not proven safe, but they're not proven unsafe. And me, I just choose not to go along with any of them, because if it's not proven safe, then I'm not gonna do it, you know what I mean? Even though it's not proven unsafe, if it's not proven safe, I'm not gonna do it. That's just what it is. Another thing that I got to deal with is a new allergy, which is to white gold. I am the proud owner of a beautiful wedding band and engagement ring that are a set that I wear every single day, and I have not been able to since I got pregnant, because I don't know if you guys remember in one of my, I think it was tutorials, it was red, it was scaly, it was scabby, it was so gross, and it is from my wedding ring. I've put other jewelry on and it's fine, but for some reason that wedding ring, it's just a new allergy that I've developed. I did not have that with my first baby, so I don't know if it's something that's gonna last through pregnancy, like forever, and from now on I'm allergic to it or not, but we're just gonna have to see. So maybe if you have some new developing allergies, you can share those down below. I have zero, and this is where things get kind of funny, I have zero sex drive. As a young couple, my husband and I have a pretty active sex life, you know what I mean? Not to go into detail, I'm not gonna tell you like what we're into or anything like that, but you know, we're active, we're young, we love each other, and we like to express it. But since I've gotten pregnant, like I'm talking maybe once a month, maybe twice. I don't know what it is, like I just literally do not want to be touched by anyone. The only one that I cuddle with is my son. Like I don't like to hold hands, I just don't want to be touched, and I know I'm not alone in this. If you guys saw my pregnancy reaction video, my sister-in-law was the same way. She's like, I just don't want to be touched. She's due the same day I am, and so we're like right along the same you know, adventure in stages of pregnancy, and so I know I'm not alone in that. Another side effect of my pregnancy, when I first got pregnant, I was using my Eva NYC shampoo, and out of nowhere, right when I got pregnant, dandruff city, you guys. I mean, like when I would just fix my hair like this, just put my fingers through it, it was literally Colorado at Christmas. It was just snowfall. It was horrible. I have since moved to Head & Shoulders to get rid of my dandruff, and I have also gone to only shampooing twice a week, just because my scalp is so dry, and usually like I have to shampoo every single day because I'm so oily, but I can't anymore because it just dries out my scalp so much, and the Head & Shoulders is the only thing that keeps the dandruff away, so there's that. So like I said, I went in and did my very first doctor's appointment. They confirmed you're pregnant. They kind of just go over your medical history. Then after that, about 4 weeks later, we had our very first ultrasound, which was awesome. We did it there in the same facility, which is amazing. Everything is done in this facility. The lab work, the ultrasound, everything is done in-house, which is amazing that there's not 3 different offices. Did our ultrasound, they remeasured, and my due date did change. I had to like do week 10 over again. I thought I was 10 weeks pregnant based on my period date that I gave them. They calculate it and you receive your due date at your first doctor's appointment, or you could also plug it in online and they give you a due date. But when you go in, they measure the baby, and based on those measurements, it can change, which mine did. It put me back a week. So I had to do week 10 all over again, which is fine. And so originally I think I was due February 2nd, and then it changed to February 8th. And now we went in for our second ultrasound, which was the one that you can choose to do or choose not to do. I did choose to do it because it's not invasive on the baby, and I was able to see the baby again. And it is the measurements specifically for Down syndrome. And that one was really awful, that ultrasound, because the way the baby was positioned, you have to be between, I think, 12 and 15 weeks. Maybe I think it might be between 10 and 14 or 10 and 13 is when you go and do this one. And so they have to take very specific measurements between like the head and the shoulders and the neck, and you know what I mean. Down syndrome have very specific traits, and so the baby has to be in very specific positions, and so they have to be facing this way, facing that way, have to be facing up, you know what I mean, like, and so she would like push on my stomach, which is literally the most uncomfortable thing ever because your bladder has to be full, and so she's like pushing on my stomach to make the baby move. She's like wiggling me. It's just like super uncomfortable. Well, the baby wouldn't go up, face up. The baby kept moving from side to side, but wouldn't stay facing up, and so she had me like get up and walk around, and then we would lay back down. Get up, walk around, lay back down. She had me go out into the lobby. I was there for like 2.5 hours. So finally we go in and she's like, I'm just gonna have to do a vaginal one, which remember I told you I had to do with my son the very first time, and it was so awkward. She had me insert it myself. Like it was like almost inserting a dildo, like, not to be crude, into your vagina, like with somebody sitting right there. She was like, I'm gonna hand it to you and you go ahead and insert it and then I'll move it around. I was like, what the F? You know, it was so uncomfortable, and I'm pretty sure that's like super unsanitary and you're not supposed to do that. So that really, really sucked. And they still, so that doesn't work. The baby's still not moving up or looking up. And so she goes and gets another technician. And by this time we're back to like the regular ultrasound, thank God. And she like does it in 2 seconds. And the girl was like, that was already working on me, was like, oh, I didn't know we can measure it that way. She's like, yeah, like it's not guaranteed every single time the baby's gonna be here. And you've had this girl in here for 2.5 hours. So she like basically told her off like right in front of me, and I felt so much better about it. As poopy as that sounds. But so based on those measurements, that's how they're going to determine everything's growing at the right rate. Again, the Down syndrome, stuff like that. There was no way for them to tell the anatomy yet, so I don't know if it's a boy or girl quite yet. They did schedule that for September 13th, so that'll be in the second trimester roundup. They say first is the worst. I don't really agree with that. I feel like, you know, you're sick and you don't feel well, and certain things make you sick, certain smells, certain foods, textures, you know what I mean? Like that was my biggest thing. Like I remember eating a piece of chicken and just the texture of it, like I had to spit it out. I couldn't even swallow it. And things that you really think you are gonna love that you used to, you don't anymore. I remember for like 2 months, a month and a half, I couldn't eat pickles, and pickles, if you know me, are like one of my, is like a major food group for me. I love pickles, and so that was like really a bummer. Or things that you never eat, you do start eating, just like random stuff. I ate a hot dog, which again, I don't even like meat to begin with as like a regular person. But I don't even think I finished that story. So I have started eating meat again, thankfully, which is good because, like I said, my pills don't have iron in it, because whatever the like man-made iron in the pills. There's like there's so much of it, and it's strictly just iron that it just bound me up like you would not believe. And I know that's like sharing a lot, but like I said at the beginning, that this series is definitely going to be oversharing, and we're talking about my vagina, we're talking about, you know, my boobs. Oh, that's another thing, is that my boobs have literally not doubled in size, but not only are they bigger around, like, because I've gained weight obviously around this size, like the width, but also I'm like into a double D. I don't know if you guys can tell, but because I'm just so big everywhere. And I've been getting a lot of questions about sharing bumpy pictures, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to or not, just because like I was already curvy to begin with, and so it's not like one of those Instagram perfect belly pictures where I'm just like holding my belly like this and you see a cute little bump. Like, no, I'm already curvy and big, and so it doesn't even look like a bump, you know what I mean? Like, I'll show you guys. I'm already curvy up here, like I was already tummy kind of gal, but all of it's down here, so you can kind of see a little bit of a curve coming up on 16 weeks. But I look like I'm with my whole belly. If I did this, I already look like I'm 6 months, because I'm just a curvy girl. I mean, if I'm talking about my vagina and my boobs, I might as well show you my big old belly, right? You gotta have total comfort. So like I said, I hope you guys enjoy this. If there's anything else you want me to share with you, you know, any helpful, I want to do like a helpful tips and tricks for like first time moms, things that I learned the hard way, or things that helped me, you know, the first time, the benefits of like having a registry, a baby shower if you really need one. I did have one with my son, but I don't think I'm gonna have one with this baby. I'm not sure, which is really sad considering we're on the same side of the country where all of our family is. I just don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna have a baby shower with this one. Stuff like that. So I'm getting some ideas. I am going to do a maternity haul this coming up Sunday. I am already wearing maternity clothes because, like I said, I was already big, and now my bottom of my stomach has pooched out, and so my jeans just make it look like I'm really fat. And when you're pregnant, you don't want to feel really fat. You want to feel good and like, I have a belly, I'm pregnant, you know, I'm growing a human. So there are some things that you need from specifically from maternity. I have the best pair of maternity leggings that I want to share with you guys that you'll ever find in your life, and affordable. You know, I have maternity jeans, which you need. You don't have to necessarily buy maternity tops. Like this t-shirt, I just went up a size. This is a size 2X. I'm usually just at 1X. And it looks fine, you know what I mean? You don't have to have everything with ruched siding. I do have a lot with ruched siding because, like I said a million times, I'm already overweight, and so I want people to not just automatically assume I'm some fat chick walking down the street because of all this extra weight. Like, I want them to know that I am pregnant, you know what I mean? Because there's nothing worse, like, I'm gonna be straight up with you, you want that self-confidence. If you don't feel sexy and if you don't feel comfortable, like, you're not gonna have a good pregnancy, because that's exactly how I felt with my son, and it just wasn't fair to me or him, you know what I mean? Like, I'm getting emotional even thinking about it. I really wish I would have handled his pregnancy different. And so this one, you know, I think I had like maybe one pregnancy massage, which isn't that big of a deal, but I really want to talk to you guys about putting yourself at the top of the chain, you know what I mean? Like, I am a wife and I'm also a mother, and so I focus a lot on my husband and my son, but when I was pregnant with my son, I devoted a lot of time to my husband, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just like work and stuff like that. Like, he is my breadwinner. He is the sole provider. He is my champion. He is the love of my life. And so, you know what I mean? Like, I want him to feel like he's taken care of. And you should always do that, you know, if you have the energy for it, like I said from the beginning. But I really want to talk to you guys about doing stuff for yourself as well. Like going and getting pedicures, going and getting manicures. You know, unless you have like extreme circumstances, there's really no reason that you can't go and spend $20 to $25 on a pedicure and sit in a massage chair and feel good about yourself. You know what I mean? There's no reason that you can't go get like maybe a $20 to $25 haircut. And I'm not saying doing everything at once. Like, I know money is tight because you're buying car seats, you're buying strollers, you're buying clothing, you're buying nursery decor. You know what I mean? If you're like me, you like to have everything done. I wanted everything done before my son came, and so I don't know if I'll have the opportunity to do that with this baby, just because of me being in my parents' house. I'm not sure when we're gonna get into our own house, but I'm not really worried about it because I was painting and sanding a crib that I got from my cousin for my son at 8 months pregnant. 8 months pregnant, I was sanding, you know what I mean, sanding a crib to get paint off and painting, and I was on my knees. I put it together myself. Like, I am a very independent person when it comes to that, so I'm not really worried about that, but I am worried about my mentality for this one because I just didn't have it with Aiden. And so I want to also include Aiden in a lot of things for this one because I just didn't document his the way I wanted to, and that's not going to be fair to him later on growing up. Like, well, here's your baby siblings whole entire pregnancy of pictures and, you know what I mean, like notes and documentation, and I have nothing for him. Like, that's not fair, you know what I mean? So I want to include him, like, you were 2 and this is what you were doing, and this is, you know what I mean, while your baby sibling was in mommy's belly, and, you know, stuff like that. So I really wanted to touch on that because I feel like it's really, really important. So I just wanted to touch on that. I feel like that is what I definitely want to end with, is the mentality portion of it. It's so important, and it makes such a difference in your pregnancy. I'm so much happier with this one already, even though I'm sick and I'm gaining weight, and you know what I mean, I just feel so much better because I already have my maternity clothes. I'm already comfortable in my skin. I'm already, like, you know what I mean, I am a mom, I'm growing a human, and that's such a magical thing, and it's such a blessing. And you know what I mean, like I said in the beginning, like, what has to happen for you to get pregnant? Like, I just wish I would have taken it for what it was last time, which is like a truly miracle. So on that emotional note, you know, there are tons of things out there that you can document. They have like little cards and stickers for mommy's belly, the same they do for like baby. When they're like 1 month old, you could do like the weeks and stuff like that. I bought this giant chalkboard, and so I'm gonna do my own. So maybe I'll insert my 16-week picture. If not, I'll insert the picture of our announcement that I did. For those of you who don't have social media or don't follow me on any other social media, I'll insert the picture of Aiden with the chalkboard. And I just bought some chalkboard markers and I did everything myself. So just make it as fun as you can. I know that the first trimester is hard, but I really feel like third is the worst. They say first is the worst. I feel like third is the worst because you are just so uncomfortable. At least I was, because Aiden was a big baby and it was my first, and so I was obviously scared and nervous of, you know, we had some, not complications, but they just kind of told me that I had no choice but a C-section. And talking to my doctor now, I found out that that wasn't the case. I could have had a natural birth and I could have had a better recovery, because C-section is a hard recovery. I was up and down the stairs at like week 1 just because I had guests in my house, and you know what I mean, stuff like that. And so I could have had a better recovery. I was in a lot of pain. C-section is no joke. Like, just sneezing. So there is a chance for me to have regular birth, vaginal. I am definitely doing epidurals if I am gonna be able to do a vaginal birth, but we'll see. So I will keep you updated on that. Birthing plan definitely comes into effect second trimester for me, particularly because the doctor's office that delivered Aiden has not sent over files and documentation from his delivery, so my doctor here is still waiting on that. So I will definitely keep you updated for that for second trimester roundup. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed first trimester. roundup. I'm sorry that I was like all over the place, but that's another side effect. You kind of like can't finish a sentence or a story to save your life. So I'm gonna link the prenatal vitamins down below. I'm going to link the chalkboard that I bought and the chalkboard markers. Another thing about the chalkboard is it specifically said for chalkboard markers. If you get a traditional chalkboard, they are porous, which will suck up the chalkboard marker and you can't erase it. So I'm gonna link the specific one that I got. It's an antique rustic one, and it was like $60, $50, but I figure I can use it for all kinds of stuff, like not only throughout my pregnancy, but like for the kids' birthdays and all kinds of stuff. So anyways, that's it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are new, hello and welcome. My name is Brittany Cocco. You are watching the Cocco channel. Please subscribe if you're not already, and I will catch you guys in my next video.